Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsyreplays. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be looking, talking and playing the Object 7772. Now, when this tank was first released, it was up there in my top 5. I absolutely loved this tank. It was a bit overpowered, and actually I believe it was in my top 5 most overpowered tanks. Nowadays, it doesn't reach my top 5 overpowered tanks. I still like playing it. I still enjoy the tank, but I just think it is nothing compared to what it used to be. Even though it hasn't really had too much change of the tank, but I don't know, it just doesn't feel as OP as it once was. Now, the turret, very strong turret at 260 millimeters, and the same as the hull. The hull is 240 millimeters, so your hull and your turret are both very, very strong. Of course, there are weak points on both. There's weak points on the hull, and there is weak points on the turret, but overall it is still very, very strong. Now, your damage per minute is just under 3,000, but that is with me running calibrated shells, so I could get that over 3,000 if I run the rammer. But with the penetration being as it is, I do prefer to run the calibrated shells because you do get nice heat pen. The reload is just 8.69 seconds. Again, for a heavy tank, that is actually quite low, so not too bad there. Your penetration 263 standard on your APCR and 384 on your heat, so actually very good heat pen, which is why I do run that calibrated shells. 65 on your HE. Now, you've got a 430 alpha gun, which is very nice considering you only have around about a 9-second reload. Very, very nice indeed. And again, with the 9-second, that is with running calibrated shells, so you can get that even better if you're running the rammer. So a 430 alpha gun is very, very nice. And the difference is you're more likely to hit over that 400 mark. The average damage, you're going to hit over that 400 mark, where if you've got a 400 alpha gun, there's a lot of times that you hit 340, 350, but with 430 alpha, you're more likely to hit over 400 most of your shots. So 370 heat and 530 on your HE. Again, both very nice. You've got an aim time of 3.5 and gun dispersion at 0.335. You know, they're not the best, of course, but I think if they were decent along with all the other stats, then maybe it would be a little bit more overpowered. And the same with the gun depression as well. You've only got 6 degrees of gun depression, so not a lot there, but again, I think if it did have more with the turret armor it's got, I do think it will be a little bit too strong. Your top speed is 45 kilometers per hour as well, so it's one of those tanks that I do still enjoy playing. Like, it's not a tank that I used to absolutely love, and I think that was really OP back in the day. It's a tank that I still love, not as much, but it's a tank that I don't think is now overpowered. You know, after being with it being around for a while now, I really don't think this tank is overpowered. People can deal with it a lot easier than they used to be able to. I still think the tank looks nice, and yeah, it's not a bad tank to have in your garage. Now, I don't mind nowadays selling tanks to get different tanks for gold, but this is actually one tank that I wouldn't sell. So I do like it that much that I wouldn't go as far as selling the tank. So yeah, and it can still be very, very dangerous. You get this tank in the right positioning, then of course you can get quite a few bounces, but you need to make it a little bit difficult for the enemy. Don't sit out in the open on a bit of flat ground, because yeah, you are going to get penetrated. So make it a little bit more difficult for the enemy to be able to penetrate you. If you are on a ridge, look up, you know, face your gun up in the air, look around, go backwards, forwards, and just make it a lot more difficult for them to be able to hit you. The same with the hull. If you can hide the hull, then that's one less thing that you do have to worry about, because the hull is quite weak when you are on flat grounds. It is quite weak. And again, if you can get that HE out, do so, because you will do over 500 damage as well, just like we've done to the STB. So this game is now 6 versus 5. There are a lot of one-shot, there are a lot of tanks that are low hit points, but again, a nice 498 roll, and that wasn't even a high roll. I got my max roll here now, so let's see if we could do any better. A 457. So yeah, the alpha's nice. The alpha is, in my opinion, one of the best things about the tank, considering you've got, what, an 8.7 second reload. You know, when you're doing over 500 damage, I think that is very, very nice in such a short amount of time as well. So, yeah, I mean, we've managed to bounce 570 this game. We are up to 3,100, and I don't think we're going to do too much more, I think. But I definitely think, this, you know, it's not a tank that has been around for an awful long time. It's not a tank that does come for sale that often. But I do think if it does come for sale, and it is the standard price of a tier 10 tank, which is around about 20,000 gold, I would definitely think about, you know, I do think this tank is worth that with that price. So if it does come for sale, and it is for sale for gold, and it is around 20,000, which, to be fair, if it does come for sale, I don't think it will be the 20,000 straight away. I do think you'd probably be looking at around 25k. But even 25k, to be fair, I think even 25k, if you do get the camouflage, it is a decent price. It is a decent price. But again, when you're talking about the armor, if you do just sit there and you are moving and you do make it more difficult for the enemy, then you can get bounces, you know, especially if it is a sort of a lower tier tank, a tier 9. But you give it, I mean, that Project Louis there, that did get a bounce on my turret, but then you've got this M46 pattern, who is going to penetrate me most of the time, and that is a tier 9 medium, and he's going to penetrate me most of the time, except for that shot there. So yeah, do make it a lot more difficult. Don't just sit there on a ridge expecting to get bounces, because it will not happen. You have to make it happen. It doesn't just happen, you have to make it happen. And again, you may get lucky with a few bounces. So even this game, we managed to bounce 1,030. Again, the pattern is still penetrating me, but I've still bounced enough to have a the hit points to pretty much deal with him. And is he going to get another bounce? No, because we are going to take him out, and then we're going to start pushing towards this Project Louis. I don't freaking know. And again, we get another bounce, but then he does penetrate us. We was on flat ground, and it was very easy for him to penetrate us. So we have still bounced 1,360 damage. So we've still bounced more than our hit points that we've got left. So that has made us survive. Basically, we were on 2,300, and there is still just a little bit more damage to do. So it is one of those tanks, because of the alpha, because of the reload, you do pick up this the damage very quickly, especially if you get the high rolls. But yeah, again, I think it is a very, very good heavy tank. There's not much better out there, to be fair, when it comes to heavy tanks. There isn't like a massive amount of really, really good heavy tanks, where for me this is up there as a really good heavy tank, but you just need to try and get the best out of it, get it in positions that actually work. And again, if you have to use your heat, do use your heat, because you do have over 380 millimeters. So let me know what you think of the Object 777. It has fell down the pecking order, especially when it comes to OP tanks. Definitely not the most OP tank in tier 10 nowadays, but I do still think it's a fun tank to play, and it is still a strong tank in the right hands. Let me know what you think of the Object 777-2 in the comments below. But for now, hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm meadsy69, and I will catch you all soon. Bye bye.